Live breaking news, Nez Nation. Nathan Wade, Fani Willis's lover, who she hired, if you remember correctly, as the special prosecutor who's since, been recused himself from the case. Judge McAfee gave him a choice, either Fani or Nathan, and Nathan was like, hasta la pasta. This is the guy who took Fani Willis, basically left and abandoned his whole family, Fani's mistress, who took her to Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Bahama. You guys remember, right? A brand new today, April 3rd, 2024, a brand new application of contempt was filed today by Nathan philandering Fani Willis ex-lover Wade, his ex-wife, Jocelyn Wade. This was filed today. And we're going to go through this right now. Essentially, what happened is that, and some of the stuff that she claims, basically, he was supposed to pay for all of the support financially for her kids, and he's basically neglected all of that. And so she states here in this application, or at least her attorneys do, that back on January 30th, which was reviewed and approved by the court, the parties agreed that the temporary agreement would not be filed and disseminated by third parties unless there was an enforcement issue. And so essentially the agreement states the plaintiff will pay all uncovered medical expenses for defendant apart from any elective cosmetic surgeries until further order of the court. And he was like, nope, not going to do it anymore. That's essentially what Nathan philandering Wade basically said. He was supposed to cover vision care. Defendant will forward invoices to plaintiff, who will pay the same to the medical provider directly. If the defendant's provider requires immediate payment at the time of service, plaintiff will be notified, et cetera, et cetera. And so check this out. Defendant urgently requires medical procedures. This is Jocelyn Wade, Nathan Wade's ex-wife, who he cheated on Fani Willis with. And so check this out. Defendant urgently requires medical procedures, namely an endoscopy, colonoscopy, and ultrasound, due to severe physical symptoms she has been enduring. These symptoms have significantly impacted her ability to consume most foods. I mean, I'm no doctor. I'm not a health practitioner. I've had health issues in the past. I've had family members who've had even very similar, but this is not medical advice or health advice. But I'll tell you one thing right now. If you are significantly impacted by your ability to consume foods, leading to substantial weight loss, notwithstanding her already slender stature when in better health, let me tell you something. That is major. That is major neglect. That is major impact. If you can't consume most foods, you're not doing well at all. Again, I'm not a doctor, but if any medical practitioners, we have such a brilliant, vast, professional, awesome audience, Nez Nation. Let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? If you can't significantly consume most foods and it leads to substantial weight loss, I'm not, and you need all these medical procedures, ultrasound, et cetera, that's a very severe, serious condition. Let me know in the comments if you have any medical background or anything at all. I would love to hear from you. Upon information and belief, her condition is worsening and delaying these diagnostic procedures may necessitate emergency intervention unnecessarily. Wow. Defendant has duly notified plaintiff of the urgent necessity for these medical procedures and the need for prepayment in the amount of $4,400. Specifically, she has communicated that the medical facility will not even schedule these vital tests until plaintiff prepays the associated co-payments directly to the healthcare provider. $4,400, isn't about the same amount that Nathan Wade spent on his cruises to the Bahamas with Cash Money G. Willis? I mean, the wretchedness. How do you call yourself a man? You abandon your familial duties. You abandon your obligation under the law, under court order, to take care of you just abandon your kids and your wife and because when I say kids, and by the way, there is more related to that, without their mom, the kids are useless. Okay. The mom is obviously, Nathan's gone. He's the Bahamas, going on cruises, Aruba. He's out, philandering with Cash Money G, spending nights in hotels, resorts. He's basically just living the good life. While his wife, who's probably the only person able to take care of the kids, is suffering where she can't even consume food. How do you give up your kids? How do you call yourself a man and do this? Am I nuts? I mean, maybe I'm nuts. Let me know in the comments. As a man, as somebody who prides themselves on taking care of my wife and my kids and being somebody who always is a more than able provider, I just don't, that really just gets to the heart of the absolute sociopathic, narcissistic behavior that is facilitated by Cash Money G, but is embodied by Nathan Philandering Wade. Despite a direct request from defendant to plaintiff for prepayment and additional demand from defendant's counsel to plaintiff's counsel, plaintiff has failed and neglected to fulfill his obligation under the temporary order to cover these necessary healthcare costs. So it's not like this is like a one-time thing. Hey, by the way, can you get that bill on Tuesday? I'm going in on Thursday to get my health insurance. This is like attempt after attempt. We've tried to reach out to him. We tried to reach out to his counsel. He has neglected, denied, ignored, shirked all of his duties. It's just reprehensible. Instead, plaintiff has instructed defendant to make payment to the provider herself with an assurance of reimbursement. How solid do you think, Nez Nation, that assurance is? Holy macadamia nut. I wouldn't trust that assurance. Ironically, the defendant finds herself unable to fill the prepayment obligation to the healthcare provider despite not being legally obligated to do so due to the actions of the plaintiff. So she's not even legally obligated to do that, but she probably tried or attempted to and just wasn't able to due to Wade's profound, egregious neglect. On the day immediately following the entry of the order, plaintiff informed the party's daughter, an upperclassman in college, here's where he deletes the kids, with hopes of entering medical school in the near future, that he would discontinue payment of her rent and living expenses, instructing her to, what you need to do? You need to get the money from your mother. Why? Because the court's telling me to pay your mama. I'm not going to pay your mama. Hence, I am awash. I am cleansed of any responsibility. You call yourself a man, Nathan Wade? I mean, this is just wow. It is noteworthy that the daughter's rent was due that very day. Of course it was. And he's just like, call your mom. Demonstrating defendant's unwavering commitment to her children, education, and future, she promptly covered. So the mom basically, even though it was all in this court order, it was Nathan Wade's duty. It was his obligation. It was court ordered that he pay. The mom went ahead and took care of it. The mom's not even asking, can you take care of our kids? Just, I can't consume food. I'm literally an inert mess health-wise. All I'm asking is for you $4,400. You spent more probably on, those fancy daiquiris in the Bahamas with your lover, Fani Cash Money G, committing adultery while your family is suffering. It's just vile. It's vile. Give me a capital vile in the comments right now, Nez Nation, if you're as upset as I am. This is just so unnerving. The corruption is boundless. Fulton County, the DA's office, everything surrounding Trump's cases, not just this case, all of his cases, the corruption is literally breathtaking. It just takes your breath away how bad it is. So she paid, okay. As an additional note, plaintiff was very punitively reneged on his commitment to cover their daughter's MCAT expenses as well. He's just like, you know what, I'm not going to do anything. The party's son is currently in Europe pursuing a career as a professional soccer player, despite plaintiff executing a verified affidavit to the country of Spain affirming financial responsibility for his son's expenses for visa purposes, he has subsequently informed his son shortly after the temporary order was entered that he would no longer be providing support for him either. I mean, I'm laughing. This is not funny. It just gets worse and worse, directing the son to, of course, get the money from your mama. In response, the defendant, unwilling to leave their son in a foreign country without support, has been covering all his expenses and associated costs for the visa application with the money she's receiving in spousal support. So this poor woman, Jocelyn Wade, who is not demanding anything that is not her duly right to get, who under court obligation is simply following the court's order, reached out to Nathan Wade, his counsel, his defense attorneys, without getting any response, literally cannot consume food, suffering health-wise that probably you and I can't even imagine, still went ahead and covered the expenses for her kids. She's taking care of her kids. What kind of man are you, Nathan Wade? You call yourself a man, you're a mutt. Plaintiff's sudden cessation of support for the party's children has placed defendant in a dire financial situation, resulting in a monthly income of less than $1,000. That is poverty. That's infinitely below poverty. You cannot live on $1,000 a month. That's impossible. Additionally, defendant, especially if you got two kids, additionally, defendant and health bills. Defendant cannot currently work due to her poor health. As a consequence, she finds herself in a worse financial position than she was prior to the entry of the consent order. Defendant acknowledges that this court does not have jurisdiction over the expenses of the party's young adult children. However, she provides this to the court to illustrate the pressing need for this application to be addressed. So she's basically on her last, this is all she has left. Look, you won't respond. You won't get back to me. You keep telling our kids, I'm too busy in the Bahamas with Cash Money G. Don't bother me. Go to your mom. I don't have money. I can't work. I'm suffering. I can't even get a job due to what you've done to me and my health. But never mind. Imagine, that's just physically. Imagine the stress. Imagine the stress this has caused. And this is just her last attempt. Like, this is all I can do. She's basically, been shoved into a corner. She's cornered. This is all she can do. Lastly, pursuant to the consent order, plaintiff was to pay a total amount of $15,000 to Dieter, the firm employing the defendant's financial expert. Plaintiff personally provided a cashier's check in the amount to defendant's counsel, who sent the same. Upon information believed, plaintiff had one contact with the bank, who wrote a letter stating that after they did a deep dive, it would be 90 days until they can reissue the check. Defendant seeks a court order requiring plaintiff to take whatever steps necessary to ensure the cashier's check is reissued. Plaintiff's multiple willful failures to comply with the terms of the temporary order and agreement constitutes contempt of court. And I, for one, cannot in any way, shape, or form disagree with that. You can see right there next to my picture, respectfully submitted this third day of April 2024. Now remember, this isn't the only case of Wade facing contempt. Back in January, when he neglected or denied any disclosure of financial documents to show the court that, his income, he failed to show his income reports, which was required by the court. So he was facing contempt back in January. Here's another application for contempt for neglecting his duties due to that temporary order. And also, don't forget, Cash Money G. Willis is facing a potential contempt from Jim Jordan, who has subpoenaed her. And remember, I went through this through a live stream. I went through this in another video as well, where he listed all the things she failed to supply in that subpoena. And then she responded, of course, in her typical sociopathic, narcissistic, gaslighting way. She responded and said, "Your political witch hunt, you're just trying to derail me. All you're trying to do is you're just trying to interfere with my case against Donald Trump. And let me tell you something, that ain't going to happen. This train is coming." Remember? So contempt after contempt after contempt, corruption after corruption after corruption, lies after lies after lies, deceit after deceit after deceit. And yet she still has this unabashed, literally shameless look on her face when she actually says, I don't feel like my reputation needs repairing. Really? You don't? Anybody with logic, anybody with a sense of decency, with a sense of ethics, with a sense of, I'm not even saying a profound sense of right and wrong. Let's just say a basic level, 4th grade, 11, 10-year-old level of what's good and what's bad can definitely tell that Cash Money G, Fulton County, Nathan Philandering Wade, Judge Pussycat McAfee, the entire 2020 election fraud case that has been thrusted upon 18 defendants, including the former president, is absolute rife with sham. It is rife with corruption. It is rife with wrong. I throw this over to you, Nez Nation. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? I'm happy to be wrong. Let me know in the comments. What do you think of this guy abandoning his family, neglecting his kids, and then going on cruises, going to Mexico, going to Aruba, going to the Bahamas, spending more, if not the exact same amounts? Remember those numbers that Ashley Merchant showed to Bill Cowsert in the Georgia Senate subpoena? I mean, these amounts, $4,400, that's exactly how much he was spending, if not more. In some cases, more. If you take the total, it's way more on all these. I mean, you go on cruises, you cheat on your wife with a coworker. And I mean, look, if you're in love with this woman and it seems something true and you went through the divorce proceedings, fantastic. But abandoning your court-ordered obligation, you call yourself a man? You're not a man. You're not even a mouse. You're scum. You're scum, Nathan Wade. I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I try really, really hard to respond to all the comments personally, but it's literally physically impossible. Obviously, members get top priority. Super chats, super thanks get top priority. Consider becoming a member. It only costs you 1 cup of coffee to support the truth for 1 month. Each month, 1 cup of coffee. You spend more than that going to Starbucks in 30 seconds. So 1 month worth of coffee to support our channel. Become a member. You get special privileges, badges, comments, shout outs and live streams, exclusive content. I've got so much planned for y'all. Consider becoming a member. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to our free newsletter. Become a Nez Nation Insider. It's free. It's in the pinned comment. Just click on it. Click on the option for free newsletter. It'll be you'll see a drop-down menu. Put in your best email. Bada boom, bada bing. You're in. You're in the greatest community on planet Earth. Check out these videos right here coming up. They are awesome, especially this one I posted today. You're going to love that one. Subscribe, follow, and as always, Nez Nation, God bless you and God bless America. I'll see you soon.